The Asuka retirement situation is so confusing. The NFL schedule releases here and so many other things that I'm going to be covering in a Latte's Vision today. Welcome to episode number 16 of a Latte's Vision. Let's get into it. So first, let's talk about Asuka's retirement situation. She had an incredible match with Io Sky at Backlash 2026 and hugged Io after the match and was very emotional. And it was just out of nowhere, just like Brock Lesnar's retirement. And there have been so many confusing and conflicting reports, and contradictory reports ever since this happened. It was reported that in the summer of 2024, Asuka signed a new long-term deal with WWE, and most contracts around that time were 5-year deals. It's not confirmed if Asuka's was that long, but I think it would make sense for it to be. But according to another report from Elite Rockers, Asuka is reportedly semi-retired. It's not confirmed whether that means she's returning to Japan or if she'll still wrestle in WWE, but the word is going around that she is semi-retired. I don't know how you could be semi-retired. Could this have been because of Kairi Sane's release? Who knows? Could she be like saying, I'm not going to wrestle in WWE anymore unless you bring back Kairi or something like that? I think it's a possibility. Lots of other people have expressed their frustration for Kairi Sane's release, but it's not clear if Asuka did or not. But reportedly, Asuka is still said to be aligned with WWE. There's been a story making the rounds within WWE that Asuka could be returning to Japan for an extended period of time due to a family matter. I'm not exactly sure what that means, but I feel like just nobody really has any clue at this point what exactly is going on. She hugged Io on Raw and just walked out with her suitcase, which is very weird. Whenever there's a retirement coming like this, especially for a huge star like Asuka, they always have a retirement match. They usually use it as like a story device, like Goldberg, like John Cena, like AJ Styles. Could this be similar to the Brock Lesnar situation where she just did it out of nowhere? I'm not exactly sure. I really don't know what's happening here. I would like to think though and be hopeful that she is still signed to WWE and still is going to keep wrestling, because I'm not really ready to let Asuka go yet. I've barely gotten to see any of her, and she is awesome. One of my favorite female wrestlers, honestly. Let me know what you think could potentially be happening with the whole Asuka situation. Now let's talk about the NFL schedule release. Here are all 9 international games in the big 2026. All these other games don't matter because they have stupid teams in them, but what does matter is week 11, Vikings 49ers in Mexico City. I am so excited. The Vikings seem to be playing international games like every year, which I love. Very few games have ever been played in Mexico, at least NFL games. And the Vikings are going to basically have 10 home games, kind of. They have 9 normal home games. 9. Get it? And then 1 neutral site game with the 49ers in Mexico City. So this is awesome. I'll just real quick go through the other ones. We have Melbourne, a game in Melbourne between the Niners and the Rams. Rio de Janeiro, week 3, Ravens, Cowgirls. London, England, we got the Colts versus the Commanders. Eagles versus Jaguars, Texans versus Jaguars, and those are all through in weeks 4 through 6. In Paris, France, we have the Steelers versus the Saints in week 7. In Madrid, Spain, we have the Bengals versus the Falcons in week 9. In Munich, Germany, we have the Patriots versus the Lions in week 10, and then Mexico City, Vikings, Niners, week 11. Here's the official full Minnesota Vikings schedule for the 2026 NFL season. I will be making a video this coming Saturday, May 16th, where I go in depth to each of these games and tell you who I think is going to win and why. I'll try my best to give my best reasoning why for all of them, but looking at this schedule on paper, I really like it. We have 4 late afternoon games, 3 primetime games, which could turn into like up to 5. And 5 of the last 7 weeks on the Vikings schedule are home games. It's looking like we could get the winter whiteout game against the Lions, possibly a primetime game against the Commanders. However, I like the winter whiteout way better when it's not on primetime, because just it being bright outside really fits and helps with the atmosphere. With it being pitch black outside and then the stadium being all white, it just doesn't really work as well. We saw that last year, and I go to all the home games, so as a fan, at least from that perspective, I like it better when it's bright outside. We play the Packers possibly both times before Micah Parsons is back, which could be really awesome. I won't go too in depth here though, because like I said, I'll be releasing the full video on Saturday, tomorrow. For the Christmas schedule, we have the Texans versus the Eagles on Christmas Eve, and then on Christmas Day, the triple header, Packers, Bears, Bills, Broncos, and Rams, Sea Chickens. And the Packers and Bears, that's kind of unfortunate because I don't want either of them to win. And the Packers also play on Thanksgiving, so there's a chance that that could ruin my Thanksgiving and Christmas, but there's also a chance it could make it 10 times better. High risk, high reward, baby. Overall, I think these Christmas games are actually going to be pretty good. And then as for the Thanksgiving games, we have Packers, Rams on Thanksgiving Eve, and then on Thanksgiving Day, Bears, Lions, Eagles, Cowgirls, and Bills, Chiefs. 3 great rivalries. These are going to be some awesome, I keep wanting to say matches because I'm so used to referring to WWE games. These are going to be some awesome games. Also, I forgot to mention this earlier, Chris Jericho is in the Vikings schedule release video, which I really love because Chris Jericho said in a Chris Van Vliet interview, I believe it was, maybe it was some different kind of interview, I don't know, but he said that he was a Vikings fan, and I love that. I really like Chris Jericho too, just in general. It would be really cool if they could get Brock Lesnar or something like this in one of these videos though. But this upcoming Vikings season is going to be honestly a nightmare for teams we play, I feel like. We have Kyler Murray at quarterback. Well, most likely, you know, obviously JJ McCarthy could still win the job, but likely Kyler Murray. And on every single play, the defensive team will have to make a decision on whether or not to put a spy on Kyler Murray or double team Justin Jefferson, safety help for Jordan Addison, or safety help for Jawan Jennings. And as this post says, there is no way to do all of these and effectively rush the passer unless you can get home with 3 or maybe even 2. It is going to be an absolute nightmare for these defenses. I am pumped up for this upcoming season. I think this upcoming season, as soon as Vikings games are over, I will try to get out a recap and review of the game as quickly as I can this upcoming season, and I'll be live streaming some other games, not Vikings games, because I'm either going to those or I'm watching it with my dad or my girlfriend or both. And I love you guys, but I prioritize them over YouTube, especially since I have 700 subscribers. But I will be streaming other games. It'll probably be a lot of NFC North team games, mostly NFC games. I'll still sprinkle some AFC in there though, some primetime games. But I can't wait for this upcoming season. The New Day was recently released from the WWE, and they are currently expected to sign with AEW. They already have a pretty crazy tag team division over there, and adding the New Day would be absolutely insane. I still think the New Day has a lot left in the tank, so it would make a lot of sense, like all the sense in the world. Let me know what you think on whether or not the New Day should go to AEW. Next thing we have to talk about is the John Cena Classic, which was announced by John Cena himself at Backlash 2026. And reportedly, we didn't get a date, but it is reportedly expected that it could take place in early December, because that is about the 1-year anniversary of John Cena's retirement. And it's looking like it could potentially be hosted on Netflix, which I would absolutely love. Some details for the John Cena Classic that we know, at least so far, is that the main roster and NXT talent will compete. I'm really hoping for Mason Rook versus Obafemi. Oh my god. A new championship is being introduced for it. The winner of it will get that championship, and the fans will vote as to who to crown the champion. And every participant, including the losers, can be voted the champion by the fans. Now, I originally liked the idea of fans voting. I love everything about this. I'm so excited for this. This was genuinely ground shifting, or whatever he said. It is changing the landscape of WWE. It's the start of a new era, if you will. But as I've seen other opinions and kind of dwelled on it, I've realized I don't really like that idea, because it makes it extremely easy for WWE to just straight up rig it, because we have absolutely no way of knowing if our votes were actually even counted or not. Like WWE or TKO, more likely TKO could just straight up say, we want that guy to win, and then the fans voting just doesn't matter. However, it is said to still be a work in progress, and these details are just speculation at this stage, so maybe it could change. I feel like a change does need to happen with that. Staying kind of on the topic of John Cena is Dominic Mysterio, who was the last person to beat John Cena at a premium live event. Saturday Night's Main Event is not considered a PLE. I don't know why, but it's not. He beat Cena for the Intercontinental title, and he hasn't won a single match 6 months later on WWE TV or the WWE main roster. He's won in AAA, but not on the main roster. I get it, he had a shoulder injury, but he was out for like a month or two. That is not an excuse. He has been just taking L after L. I get it, he's cursed, but like, lift the damn curse already. Dom needs to get wins, and it's just killing his momentum that he had, his massive amount of momentum he had after beating John Cena. Hopefully Dirty Daddy Dom can turn things around. Fatal Influence was just recently called up to the WWE main roster, and they have been perceived extremely well by the crowd. They are all three of these ladies doing fantastic work, and they're actual good heels getting actual good heel reactions. They're not getting cheap heat, they are just good heels. Like really good, dare I say even great or perfect or amazing heels. And WWE seems to be changing their SmackDown plans around them and are planning on featuring them more prominently than they were originally planned to be. And as they should. Like I said, they have been doing fantastic, and they're in the ring with the likes of Charlotte Flair, with the likes of Rhea Ripley, Paige, Brie Bella, Alexa Bliss. I mean, it is just insane. These ladies are doing a fantastic job, and I assume they're going to keep it up because they are truly great. The Minihausen teamed up with Danhausen at Backlash. And the person playing the said Minihausen was El Torito. There's not much I have to say about this. I just thought it was pretty cool. And he is honestly very talented. He was doing amazing stuff in the ring. Here's a stat you won't believe. WrestleMania had, both WrestleMania Night 1 and Night 2, had less minutes of actual professional wrestling than Backlash. That's right. A 3-hour show. The biggest wrestling event of the year. 3 hours about on each night. The one where the biggest matches and talent are shown off, with 7 matches on one night and 6 on the other. That had less time than a 2-hour premium live event, a B tier PLE with 5 matches. That is not okay. That is not right. The way WrestleMania was formatted is a huge problem, and it needs to stop. This needs to stop. Brock Lesnar, after retiring at WrestleMania, even though he's on the WWE alumni section on the official company's website, internally he's still listed as a quote-unquote active wrestler and listed as a free agent. So does this mean Brock isn't done? I don't know. I think it would be kind of cool to have him back for a match at SummerSlam, but also that would kind of like, I I was going to say it would make Oba's win useless, but even if he doesn't retire, it's certainly not useless. It would kind of make that moment at WrestleMania feel pointless. Like, if he wasn't going to retire, why did he take off his gloves? Why did he take off his boots? Let me know what you think, though, if you think Brock Lesnar is going to come back for one more match. A mass wave of NXT call-ups just recently happened within like the past 4, 5, 6 months. And it's reported that there's going to be even more coming this summer. Specifically on the women's side of things, I think it'll probably, hopefully, just be Tatum Paxley and Lola Vice. Both these two women are very main roster ready. Honestly, you could do more just because the women's scene over there is so stacked. I unfortunately do not have a SmackDown preview for you guys. I'm recording this on Thursday night though, so if I do get the Thursday, if I do get a SmackDown preview, I will add it to the video just after I talk about this. Roman Reigns was originally pulled from all his appearances in June on Raw because apparently it was a clerical error. But this completely contradicts that. He is now scheduled for the June 1st, 15th, and 29th episodes of Monday Night Raw in Italy, Baltimore, and Atlantic City, New Jersey, respectively. He's also advertised for 2 episodes in July in the build-up to SummerSlam in Dallas and Los Angeles on July 13th and 27th. And of course is advertised for Clash in Italy too, and all the rest of episodes of Raw this May. So glad that he is staying mostly full-time. He's going to be there every other week. That's basically full-time. You know, close enough. And it's going to make Raw feel a lot more special. I can't wait to see my tribal chief on a full-time basis or semi-full-time basis. But that is going to be it for this video. Thank you all so much for watching. Like and subscribe if you want, and